Welcome to the Next Wave podcast. I'm Matt Wolfe, and today we're back with another round of AI news. And you're definitely going to want to hear this one. This week, Maria and I break down some huge stories shaping the future of AI. From OpenAI's surprise launch of the Atlas browser and what it really means for how we'll use the internet, to Microsoft's latest AI upgrades inside of Windows, to Anthropic's new Claude code that can change how developers work forever. It's a packed episode full of breakthroughs, hot takes, and a few laughs along the way. So let's jump over and chat with Maria Garib. So once again, today, I've got Maria, the head writer of the Mindstreamed newsletter, joining me on the show today, and we're going to deep dive in the news once again. So thanks again, Maria, for hanging out with me.
I mean, a lot has happened last week, so we have a lot to cover today.
I feel like the biggest story of the past week or so was OpenAI's Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't know they were planning a live stream for Atlas until the day of the live stream. I saw the countdown and went, oh, they're announcing something today. So that was my sort of entry point to it. Didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to Sam Altman, it's always the element of surprise. We thought like Mark Zuckerberg does that, but no, it's actually right. Sam as well. So I was really surprised by the launch. Yeah. I mean, there's been rumblings for a while that OpenAI is working on a browser. So we kind of knew at some point there was a browser eventually,
coming.
but not like 2 days ago or like 3 days ago.
Yeah, it definitely came quicker than I expected because it was only like, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago that OpenAI was literally trying to buy Chrome from Google. So
exactly my point.
But I guess underneath the hood, it's still Chromium. It's still like the bones of the Chrome browser, just with like OpenAI features baked into it.
I like the name Atlas. They were very creative with this one. So the idea is that instead of like switching tabs and like pasting links, ChatGPT kind of like it follows you around and follows you everywhere. So you're scrolling through like a recipe or like it can order the ingredients of that specific recipe. And if you're like reading a job post, and like you don't want your manager to see, also it can summarize it. So if you want to plan a trip, it'll start building like the whole itinerary, which is pretty wild. Basically, Atlas wants to be that friend who finishes your sentences, but like in a browser kind of turn. It got agent mode built in, and which basically means that ChatGPT can click, research, plan, and even book stuff while you're still browsing. Before anyone asks, because people are going to ask this question, it's built with optional browser memory, so it can remember what you were working on.
But it does have an incognito mode, so if you want to be browsing something that you don't want it to remember,
if you want to be shady about it, it has like these. Yeah, if you want to be shady, that's 100%. It feels like OpenAI finally kind of stepped out of the chatbot phase. It had a phase mom and into the workflow sort of phase, and everyone's been saying AI will live where you work, and this is exactly it.
So the way I see it, where I think OpenAI is kind of going with this is I think they want to get it to the point where you don't even use your browser anymore. Yeah. Like your browser is just a tool that goes and does stuff for you. That's where I think they're trying to go with it. So right now you get into the Atlas browser, you can chat with it in the little right sidebar that pops up. You can turn on the agent mode if you're on one of their paid plans and say, hey, go do this shopping for me, or read this article, like you just mentioned, right? Read this article that has a recipe on it. Go find all the ingredients for me and order enough ingredients so I can make this recipe for 20 people, right? It'll do that math, figure out like the amount of ingredients, go to the store, order them for you, 100%. And then stop short of just like of making the payment, right? It'll say, hey, I put it all in the cart. Do you want to make the payment?
Do you want to Apple Pay?
It will actually prompt you.
I could just Apple Pay this. Yeah, exactly.
And so right now you're typing in this little sidebar, right? But I think what they want to do is they want to get it to a point where once they roll out like a mobile version of it, and they get the audio features more dialed in, you just prompt everything with your voice. So I can be, hanging out with a friend and I really like the shoes they're wearing. And I'm like, oh, those shoes are really cool. Let me order some. Take a picture of the shoes and go, hey, Atlas, order me a pair of these shoes. It looks at the image, figures out what the shoes are, does the research on where to find them, finds the best price on the shoes among multiple outlets, and then places the order for you. And all you did was give it a spoken prompt into your phone. Like, I think they want to remove actually using the browser. I think that's the long-term picture for them, is actually make it so we're not even thinking about using a browser anymore. Just make the internet promptable. I give it a prompt and it can go and take actions for me in the browser without me needing to open the browser and do the things anymore. Yeah, and then, there is this sort of more pessimistic take that I have on things. I mean, it's not overly pessimistic. I just know that OpenAI, they need to figure out how to drive more revenue right now, right?
Yeah.
They're losing billions of dollars a year. I think every prompt you enter into something like ChatGPT, they actually lose a little bit of money on every time you enter a prompt. So they actually really, really, really need to find new monetization methods. And by having, an app like Sora, where you're scrolling a feed like TikTok or Instagram, right? That opens up a new platform where they could put ads into it. When you have a browser that more and more people are using, that opens up another platform that you can put ads into. Potentially even opens up like recommended products. Like I just gave you an example of me just talking into my phone and it going and ordering stuff. I mean, is it too far to believe that at some point OpenAI might partner with certain companies and say, like, when they order toilet paper, make sure they go by Charmin, right? Like, would it be so out of left field to believe that they might make a deal with a company like that? So when somebody wants...
Yeah, they're going to monetize everything that they... Honestly speaking, you did say that they are losing money. I think the monetization part just is like a walk in the park for them. So I was playing around with Atlas yesterday, and I'm going to London next week. So I was like thinking to myself, like, I don't want to go to London and just have like any brunch. I want to have a brunch that feels like I'm a London girly, even though I am not. So I said to Atlas, like, treat me like a Nepo baby that lives in London and plan out a day for me to have in the city with top notch from 9 a.m. This is how it talks to me. I was so happy when it started talking to me. And it basically like gives me like a whole itinerary of everything. So that's what people like should know. It gives you ChatGPT, but in your browser, which is wild. It's awesome. It's matcha and gossip at Children Firehouse. This is what I want to do. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. So
anything on that list that it made for you that might need like a reservation or anything, theoretically, you should be able to turn on agent mode and be like, hey, go make any reservations for me that need to be made to achieve this day. Yeah.
100%. I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to try it.
Hey, if you take a look at my web presence online, it's safe to say that I'm a bit AI obsessed. I even have a podcast all about AI that you're watching right now. I've gone down multiple rabbit holes with AI and done countless hours of research on the newest AI tools every single week. Well, I've done it again, and I just dropped my list of my favorite AI tools. I've done all the research on what's been working for me, my favorite use cases, and more. So if you want to steal my favorite tools and use them for yourself, now you can. You can get it at the link in the description below. Now back to the show. So somebody from OpenAI named Adam Fry, so they're the product lead on ChatGPT Atlas. So they made this tweet here, basically saying these are all of the fixes that they're going to be making. So from all the feedback they got, this is the fixes they're going to be making, which is also a pretty solid list of like the issues that you would find with Atlas right now. So the ones that are interesting to me, the multi-profile support.
Yeah.
That's something that I personally do in Chrome. I have like 2 or 3 different Chrome profiles that I'll switch between based on like what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
I might have a Chrome profile that's, for example, like my fitness profile. And anytime I'm like watching stuff related to that, it's in that Chrome profile. Just an example, right? But a lot of people like to have different Chrome profiles that have different bookmarks in them and sort of different history in them, things like that.
Yeah.
And this didn't support that. So that's one of the things that I think is going to be a pretty beneficial upgrade. Same with tab groups. I don't really use tab groups that often myself, but I do know almost every browser has them now.
If it's not chaotic, if I don't have 70 tabs on different Chromes, I'm not writing. That's not how shit works. Like, no.
Yeah. The model picker. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but when you're using Atlas and you open up the right sidebar chat, you can't change the model. You can change the model when you're on like the main home screen. You've got the upper left like little menu that has a drop down of the models, but that only changes the model like on that chat window right there. It doesn't change the model in the right sidebar. So they're going to let you pick different models for that. Fixed text entry for Japan and Korea. Captive portal for Wi-Fi needs to work. multi-profile support, tab groups, model picker and Ask GPT sidebar, multiple tab attachments in Chat Composer, and improved @mentions user experience. Use projects from Ask ChatGPT sidebar. Ooh, that'll be a cool one to be able to access your projects right in the sidebar. An opt-in ad blocker. Add a menu listing all shortcuts, bookmarks overflow menu, add speed bump before deleting all chats in delete browsing data dialog, improve personalization of suggestions, keep improving agent time to first message, improve under triggering of ChatGPT using agent mode, make agent pause state more reliable, improve chain of thought animation for different agent actions, and improve Cloud, Excel, and Google Drive use on agent. So that's the full list of things they said they're actively working on, which is also a full list of things that you might have run into if you've used agent mode and had issues with it.
Agent mode for a lot of people is like, sounds like magic. For people that have started using it, like people that aren't very tech savvy, when they start using agent, they're wild. Imagine having Atlas as an agent. That's 100% more wild.
Yeah, no, so I think that actually the one thing about Atlas, and we can move on from this topic because I know we spent quite a bit of time on it.
We've been talking about it for like, half an hour.
The one thing that I actually the thing that I found the most valuable when I was using Atlas is probably the thing that most people are scared of, was the ability to go and have it search my chat history for something I was looking at a few days ago.
Yeah.
Because it will import all of your history from Chrome if you want it to. And I actually asked it something like, I was reading an article on TechCrunch the other day about, I don't remember the topic, but about AI agents. Can you find that TechCrunch article for me again? And it searched and it was like, well, I found 3 articles. Maybe it was one of these. And sure enough, it was one of the articles that it listed was one of the articles I was looking for. And I was like, that to me is so helpful, because I don't know how many times I've literally scrolled my history looking for a website I visited a few days ago, and for whatever reason, I can't find it again in my history, and I can't remember what the domain was. So I'm like, but now I can just do it with my chat. I can just say, hey, I was looking at this site 3 days ago. What was it again? And it pulls it up. And I found that so helpful.
It is helpful. It is, honestly. A lot of people don't have really good memory. Imagine it just scrolling through and like finding the right one at the right place at the right time. That's like so helpful.
Speaking of browsers, though, Microsoft, the day that we're recording this, rolled out a new version of Edge that has a whole bunch of AI features in it. And I can't help but think it feels like a response to OpenAI's Atlas. It feels like Microsoft going, all right, that Atlas thing got a lot of buzz. Let's roll out our browser now.
Yeah. And there's a lot of features in this one also. Like there's like 12 new features, which is like also a cute little orb that is called Myco. Yeah. And apparently it's like a whole AI philosophy about optimism in a time of like cynicism. And like, yes, but are you okay? It looks like it's not okay. It looks like it's being pushed to say some stuff to be optimistic and things, even though the world is not optimistic as we speak. So it feels like it's trying to make you feel better, but on the inside, it's like being destroyed. Like this is. But it's a cute orb, and the name is also cute, Myco. It's like Clippy, but like the cousin of Clippy, which is.
Yeah. And you can actually make it become Clippy if you want.
if you want. Yeah. If you want to go back to the ancestor of it. Yeah. 100%.
So actually, let me pull it up here. We can actually take a look and show it off. So inside of the Microsoft Copilot, these are the new features here. But this is Myco. There's a bunch of other new features too. I'll talk about some of those in a minute, but let's play with Myco here.
So cute.
Hey, Matt. Welcome back. I was just about to switch topics. What's on your mind today?
What's the most interesting thing to happen in the world of AI news this week?
One of the most talked about AI stories this week is that Waymo is bringing its driverless taxis to London next year, which is a huge move for autonomous vehicles hitting the UK for the first time. Woohoo. Another big highlight is OpenAI's Sora app, which reached 1 million downloads in just a few days by turning text into video clips, though it also sparked some copyright concerns. And on the political side, there's news that President Trump's tariffs on semiconductor imports.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay, yeah, that's
We're getting into politics. That's plenty.
Wait, did you see the demeanor of the blob? Like it's suffering on the inside. Like so, trying to. Okay, so this is what happened today. I know you wanted it, but like I'm tired today, so I'm just let me give the answers. Go back to sleep. This is the vibe that I was giving.
Yeah. Oh, you Micah. Again. Here we go.
What do you want to know? Like,
I just wanted to show this off real quick. If I just like beat it with my mouse over and over again, it eventually becomes Clippy.
Yeah, welcome back, bro.
I knew it. You were Clippy all along.
You caught me. Well, I do have a little more charm than Clippy, I hope. But hey, I'm always here to lend a helping hand, just hopefully in a less paper-clippy way.
Such a dad joke. Shut up.
Clippy throwing shade on Clippy. So yeah, that's the new Miko. You can kind of talk to it. They made it playful and sort of fun, and you can tell it to change its colors and stuff like that. But I think the more interesting stuff that Microsoft rolled out is they actually rolled out memory this week. So yeah. You know how in ChatGPT, we've had memory for a little while now where it remembers all of your conversations and can sort of reference past conversations you've had. They actually just rolled that out inside of Copilot now. Like that hasn't been a feature yet inside of Microsoft until today. The other thing that's interesting is you can do these collaborative chats now. So you can be in there talking to their chatbot, you know, maybe planning, you know, in my case, right, I might be planning the next YouTube video and having it do some research for me on my next YouTube video. And then I can pull my producer from my YouTube channel, Dave, in and say, hey, here's the ideas AI came up with. What do you think? He could get in there, start actually having a chat with the same AI conversation I was just having a chat with and keep that conversation going. And so now you can have like a three-way conversation that's me, another human, and Microsoft's Copilot all sort of in the conversation.
Yeah. And it's wild that we've come to the point where this is actually happening. Like for some people that don't use these AIs, like we should probably mention this. This is wild. This is insane. Like this is kind of like something that it's like an episode out of like, what's it called? The exact opposite of Flintstones. I forgot their names.
Oh, the Jetsons?
This is exactly it. This is what's happening right now. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, totally. And the funny thing is, like, you know, OpenAI released Atlas earlier this week. And then today, Microsoft rolled out the ability to, like, share your chats and bring other people in.
Yeah.
Well, OpenAI responded this morning as well. So check this out. So this post is from, at the time of this recording, like an hour ago, right? But it says, shared projects are expanding to free plus and pro users. Invite others to work together in ChatGPT using shared chats, files, and instructions all in one place. So Microsoft rolls out Copilot with the ability to bring other people into the conversation, and OpenAI went, oh yeah? Well, we do that now too, on the exact same day.
Yeah, I think the tech war, they're kind of speed running the whole thing, and it's like just butting heads right now. But what if we can come back to Copilot, I think it's more like getting smarter across Windows and Edge. And yeah. That's a lot of people that use Windows or like use basically any Microsoft equipment. They're having the time of their lives, you know, because like it can summarize things. It could summarize your tabs. It can book hotels. It can fill out forms. It can do many things. And if you want to like tell like Copilot, like, can you fix my life? And it's like just organize your whole calendar. And that's honestly, it's kind of refreshing to see, you know, like, you know, a company like talks about AI as something that you should connect people together, not just making us stare at screens the whole time. And they're betting on like warmth and memory and like good vibes, like an AI assistant that remembers your anniversary and your trauma at the same time. This is what I want to see. Yeah, I mean, like not just I think that what it didn't really lack it in OpenAI, but like now that Windows has it also, it's like everyone's just like who has the better agent right now. So.
Yeah. And well, Microsoft has an upper hand too, that they also run the operating system that so many people run on as well. So right now we're getting a lot of this AI in the browser, But I mean, that's the sort of next level for Microsoft is now, okay, AI is just built, like Windows 11 is sort of getting rolled out into like every computer now. I think they're deprecating Windows 10, so it's going to be harder and harder to actually use Windows 10 if you still want to. But Windows 11, they're baking more and more AI features into it. So a lot of like what we're doing in our browser, theoretically, pretty soon you'll be able to do directly inside of Windows. Like go to Windows and say, hey, my computer monitor is too dim. Can you brighten it up for me? And it just goes and adjusts the settings for you. Or, hey, I need a new desktop background. I want to use something from The Simpsons. Can you find me a good desktop background? And it goes and searches the internet, finds a good image, and just replaces your desktop background for you. And everything you do with your computer, your operating system, you're just prompting it to do it instead of having to dig around in the settings anymore. So I think that's where we'll see Windows go. Everything becomes promptable on the operating system.
Everything becomes like so adjustable in the touch of a hand, like, or your voice even, you know, because they have that. Can you imagine if that rolled out like 40, 50 years ago? Like it would be deemed as witchcraft. So I'm very happy with everything.
Yeah. I mean, if we had iPhones 40 or 50 years ago, that would be witchcraft.
Witchcraft, burn them to the witch, you know?
Exactly. So another story I wanted to talk about from the past week is that Claude Code is now inside your browser. Now, I don't know how much, vibe coding type stuff you've done yourself.
Never.
But I've played around with a lot of the various AI coding tools. And for the most part, I've found Claude Code to perform the best out of what's out there. Claude Code seems to work really well. The main problem with Claude Code is that you had to run it in a terminal.
Yes.
So you either had to run it inside of your terminal on Mac or Windows, or you could run it inside one of the terminals inside of an IDE. So like Visual Studio Code, Cursor, Windsurf, tools like that have a terminal built in. You're able to fire up one of those tools, then get Claude Code running, and then you're dealing with the whole thing inside of a terminal. That part was a pain in the butt and definitely scared a lot of people away from using Claude Code. Well, now Claude Code, they just have like a browser interface where you can mess with Claude Code now.
Yeah. Also, for the people that don't know what IDE is, it's basically like a developer's all-in-one workspace. So think of it as like a Microsoft Word, like a Google Doc, and like a Finder combined, but for coding. So for people that don't know this, but yeah, as you said, Anthropic's decided developers deserve fewer tabs, and like more sanity. So they did Claude Code, and like it's now running in the browser, no terminals, like no local setups, no chaos. So you just describe what you want and it connects your repo, and Claude starts coding like the world's calmest intern ever that is like not being fed or like being just given 7,000 caffeine cups and stuff. So now it runs in the cloud and it does real-time debugging and ships a pull request and even tells you what to change. And it's basically like it's GitHub Copilot, but with like an intention, like a really good attention span. And it's not just like for hardcore devs. The fact that you can do this straight from chat, it means that anyone could explain a bug in English, in plain English, and suddenly has access to engineering power, so you don't have to have like a background in that. You can just do it, obviously. And it's the kind of feature that quietly eats away, as we said, at IDEs. For people that want to do that kind of stuff and like want to kind of experience the world of coding, this is wild stuff. So yeah, everyone's going to be happy about this.
It's a lot more user-friendly than what Claude Code was, right? You basically had to go to a website and it gave you instructions of like, other dependencies you needed to install on your computer. So if you didn't have, for example, like Python installed on your computer, you had to install Python. If you didn't have like Node.js installed on your computer, you had to install Node.js, right? There's all these little like development elements that you had to install on your computer. So you had to follow these like step-by-step instructions and do it all in the terminal. And if you miss one step or mistype one thing, nothing seems to work. And then you want to pull your hair out because you can't even get into Claude Code in the first place to start writing the code. Well, now they just simplified it, right?
Now you can do it easily without having to cry whenever you see a code like because I have friends that do coding and like they're engineers and stuff, and I look at them as if like they own the world, like they can do many things. I can't for
witches.
the life of me. Witch. And most of them are women, which is badass. But then I can't do that. And so yeah, it is witchcraft. They should be persecuted. But this is awesome. This is amazing. I think that it could like unlock a lot of people's potentials. People can do many things now and like kind of create their own apps and stuff. So
yeah. And if you do anything with code, you're probably familiar with GitHub, which is almost like, it's like a place where as you're writing code, you can sort of push your code there. And it really serves a few purposes. One, it's like a backup for your code. So if you go too far in your code and you're like, oh, you know what? I liked the version 3 versions ago better. Let's roll it back to that. You can actually just pull the old version off of GitHub and start from there. But it also is a platform where if you write code that you want others to be able to access, you can share that code with anybody. They can download it and use it. And so what's really cool about Claude Code is it integrates with GitHub just right out of the box. Like one of the first things it says is connect your GitHub account. And so anything I've developed on GitHub in the past pops up here as something that I can just pick up where I left off. So I made this AI jump game like 2 years ago. I can select that game, give it prompts, and it will just grab all the code from GitHub of the game that already exists and just let me start coding from that spot.
Yeah. Which is also, you can basically continue what you've done before without having to do it from scratch. So
Exactly. So pretty useful upgrade, especially if you're someone that's interested in,
Thank you,
messing
Anthropic.
with.
We love you, Anthropic. You're the best.
Yeah, if you like, and Anthropic makes the best coding models too. Their Claude Sonnet 4.5 and Opus 4.1 are pretty much considered the best AI coding models out there 100%. For the most part.
Do you listen to that OpenAI, or like is OpenAI not in the picture anymore? Like they should do something about this, but
Yeah, I feel like they've kind of diverged in 2 separate directions. I feel like OpenAI has decided, hey, we're going to go, for now, we're going to go more in that consumer direction. We're going to build social media apps. We're going to build browsers. We're going to build that easy user interface. Yeah, so anybody can chat. They're going that consumer path. Where Anthropic, I feel like, is going like, they realize their models are the best for coders. Let's just really go heavy down that path. Now, I'm not saying they're not thinking about consumers as well, right? They do have, the regular Claude website where you can use it just like ChatGPT. But I feel like their main focus is let's focus on coders. Like as far as the amount of use a large language model gets, you've got the OpenAI models and you've got the Anthropic models. There's graphs out there that show which model gets the most usage, and Anthropic blows OpenAI away. Like people are tapping into the Anthropic models way more than the OpenAI models, but that's just because it's all through API. There's so many companies tapping into Claude's API where OpenAI, most of their use is through ChatGPT, through their front end user interface. So like in terms of like profitability and getting the most use, Anthropic is actually in quite a bit better position than OpenAI, but that's just sort of like some behind baseball, like really nerdy talk. But Anthropic like it gets so much more use than OpenAI because it's so good at coding.
Yeah. I sincerely, as I said, I don't like to see coding in any shape or form. It makes me kind of, it triggers my anxiety. So I have so many things I want to do. So I'm going to probably play around with it just to see what it comes up with. Cause it's wild. A lot of people are using it right now. So yeah, so happy with that.
And I love like the AI coding for just making like little simple apps. I mean, we've talked about this in many episodes in the past on this show of like, this is a little bottleneck I have in my business. I can write a quick little script that fixes this problem for me, and then I never have that problem again, right? Like I've made a little Python script that will take any image file and convert it to a JPEG. Exactly. Sounds really, really, really simple, but it's just like a little box that's open on my window, and I drag any image into it, or bulk images. I can drop like 20 images in if I want. And it just converts all of the images to a JPEG. So if you get a WebP file, if you get an AVIF file, if you get all the random image files you get when you do like a search for an image and then you download the image and you're like, oh, dang it, this is a vector file. It's not a JPEG. I can't use it on my website, whatever, right? I made a little script where no matter what image I get, drag and drop it in here, converts it to a JPEG that will look good in my videos, look good on a website, etc. And it was just a little script that took me 10 minutes to build, and I vibe coded it, and I would never sell it. It's really, really basic, but it solves a little problem that I had in my life and made that little thing a little bit easier.
Yeah, it makes it convenient, makes it easier, and makes your life 10 times easier. That's the whole idea of like why AI is just, wild to a lot of people. And like, I understand that people feel like it's taking away some of their, which is our next topic. It's taking away some of their jobs and stuff, but it's actually very helpful if you know how to use it. And it's not just taking away some stuff, it's probably creating more things to do. So, yeah.
Yeah. I actually think right now is like, I know a lot of coders are really worried, but I think right now is like probably the best time in history to be a coder. Cause like, you know what you're doing with code, but you also have AI to assist you. And if AI can assist you and make things a lot faster,
you can create thousands and thousands of things.
When AI screws something up and it's like, okay, I'm running into this bug that I can't figure out how to get around. Most vibe coders like me never figure out how to get around it. But if you actually know how to code, you're like one of the few people that goes, okay, I ran into this issue. I'm not going to vibe code the solution because I know how to fix the thing myself. Right. So I feel like right now is actually a really good time to be a coder, like that person that can jump between using AI to help code. But then when they run into a roadblock, jump in and just manually fix the thing that AI messed up.
I've seen people debugging before. If it was me in their place, I would have set my laptop on fire. I would never in my life put myself in that position for me to debug and see it. Like they crash out. What do you mean? I'm not going to crash out over this. There's no amount of coffee in this world that would make me kind of sustain my calmness when it comes to no. So yeah, this is helpful. This is, conclusion. It's helpful.
Absolutely. All right. So you mentioned the next topic that we're going to dive into. There was this article circulating. I'll pull it up on the screen real quick. So this is the article that's been circulating. Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Internal documents show the company that changed how people shop has a far-reach plan to automate 75% of its operations. Yeah. So this is pretty much the thing about AI that most people are most scared about, right? AI taking all of our jobs, right?
Also, to be fair, Amazon says that these numbers come from internal teams rather than like the whole company, and they're still hiring like thousands and thousands of people for the holidays. So what's interesting here is that there's a language shift. So they're using softer terms like advanced technology and like cobots instead of automation, which, let's be honest, like sounds like way cuter than robotic efficiency initiative. It's like way less uptight. But this really shows how the next wave of automation might coexist with human work instead of replacing it. So robots handle the repetitive stuff, which humans, can handle the creative or complex parts. And together, it's like a complete different type or a different kind of workplace. And if Amazon can pull that off at a scale, it sets the blueprint, obviously, for how AI and robotics kind of like quietly blend together when it comes to industries and like everywhere. Not a takeover, but sort of an upgrade. That's me. Yeah.
Well, I feel like articles like this are sort of misleading, right? This is a little bit clickbaity to me to say Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Because if we read this, it says Amazon's automation team expects the company can avoid hiring more than 160,000 people in the United States it would otherwise need by 2027. And then down here it said, let's see, executives told Amazon's board last year that they hoped robotic automation would allow the company to continue to avoid adding to its U.S. workforce in the coming years, even though they expect to sell twice as many products. That would translate to more than 600,000 people whom Amazon didn't need to hire. Yet if you read this headline, it sounds like Amazon is dumping 500,000 people. But when you actually read the article, it's like, no, they're building automation so they don't need to hire as many people as they used to need to hire.
Honestly, it's just the way that journalism works these days, like, and not just to promote us, but with Mindstream is that we never say that. Like, we never put in these headlines where people should be scared of what's going to happen tomorrow, because no one should be fear-mongering anything. We're trying to make people like AI and like work with AI rather than make them have a heart attack because someone woke up and like decided to write something so weird like this, That could cause someone to be upset. There are a lot of people that are triggered by these kinds of stuff, that we need to lessen the triggering and make people feel more at ease when it comes to artificial intelligence, in my opinion.
And it's just sort of like a truth too, that so many people out there just read headlines and don't read articles, right? They read the headline and infer what the rest of the article is going to be about based on the headline. And then they're, out in the world talking to their friend going, hey, did you hear Amazon's going to lay off 500,000 people because of AI?
And that person could be an Amazon, like he could be, or she could be an Amazon employee. And all of a sudden they feel like they're not going to sleep at night. No one should go through that,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a sort of shady approach, but we know the truth.
we do. We know that, they're not replacing people. So
yeah. All right. So there's a handful of other things. I think these we could kind of do more of like a rapid fire, sort of like just quick thoughts on each one of them. Here's something that just came out the day that we're recording this. So there's this new model that came out by LTX called LTX2.
Ooh.
And here's what they say about it in their sort of launch tweet. Synchronized audio and video generation. So it can do what Veo 3 and what Sora do, where it actually generates with the audio.
Oh, wow. This is wild. Yeah.
Native 4K fidelity up to 50 frames per second. And one thing is, it's not actually generating in like 720p and then upgrading to 4K like some of the past video models do. It's actually generating natively in 4K.
Wow.
I know that because I've talked to the people over at LTX. API first design, runs efficiently on consumer GPUs. Companies do use the words consumer GPUs very
freely, don't they?
Freely, liberally, because a lot of times they'll say it works on consumer GPUs. Okay, well, which one? Well, if you have an NVIDIA 5090, it'll work. Oh, okay, so if I spend $3,000 on a GPU, I can make it work. Is that really consumer? But
yeah. But the results are wild. Like, I'm looking at the screen right now. It's like, it's really, really good. Like, can you imagine what people can create with this?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some other demos side by side, and it seems to be really good at physics, like even better than like Veo was at some physics, like doing things like flips and things like that. And it's really interesting to me because we're moving at this pace now where we get these state-of-the-art models that just blow people's minds. Veo 3.1, Sora 2, things like that. And then like 2 weeks later, an open source equivalent that's pretty much just as good rolls out. So it's like, even those big state-of-the-art models aren't safe. There's like always an open source version following closely behind. The one thing that's a little scary about stuff like this and having them be open source, open weight models is, with companies like Google and Sora, or Google and OpenAI, right? They're going to have some guardrails, right? They're going to make it so you can't generate certain things. You can't deep fake stuff. You can't create, fake news that makes it look like a war just broke out in a place that it didn't actually just break out in.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they can to safeguard against that stuff. These open models,
they don't have guardrails, do they?
Even if they do have guardrails, because they're open, people can figure out how to rip the guardrails off pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of these companies do sort of bake guardrails in when they first train the models, and do a little bit of the fine tuning. But as soon as you put open source models into the hands of the public, the public's going to figure out how to break them as quick as they possibly can.
Of course, pretty smart, are they? Yeah, I mean, it is dangerous at the same time. It's not, like you wake up to it's like a war that broke out in one country, but it didn't really break out in that country. It's just like been made by some 15-year-old somewhere, because they found out how to use this. So yeah, it is dangerous 100%. So these companies need to have a bit of like responsibility when it comes to these kinds of stuff, because you don't want it to end up in the wrong hands, honestly.
Yeah.
So I hope that they kind of make sure that there's responsibility behind this and keep on having these rules and guardrails so that we don't.
Well, and once it's open source too, it's the genie's out of the bottle, the toothpaste is out of the tube, or whatever saying you want to run with.
We're gonna use that, yeah.
You can't put it back in, and like even if the company put this up on their GitHub and said go ahead and download it and work with it, and then deleted their GitHub, well, somebody still got it somewhere, right?
Exactly.
It's still out
there. The internet, it is there. So yeah.
So yeah, super, super interesting to kind of pay attention with what's going on. I don't do a lot of stuff with open source but it's always super impressive to me how quickly open source follows behind, foundation or frontier lab state-of-the-art models.
Yeah, it is wild. I mean, people are very creative, as I said. So it's just wild. Like one company is, we did talk about this last week, like these huge companies would have this, and like somewhere out there with like a small company, they would create the same exact thing with like no guardrails. So it is wild.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about here is this DeepSeek OCR. We don't have to spend too much time on it because it's kind of getting a little more into the weeds, a little bit more on the technical side. But the company out of China, DeepSeek, they basically figured out this new like training method where they can essentially ingest a lot more text into the training model by actually putting all of the text into an image and then having it train on the images instead of the text itself, which is just like a really wild sort of like outside the box. Like, how did they even come up with this concept for training?
Yeah,
but supposedly it makes it a lot more efficient.
It is, yeah. They figured out like a way to make AI read text as images, and it would do it like up to 10 times more efficiently than the standard text tokens. So instead of like breaking words down into thousands of little pieces, like other models do, because that's what they do, a DeepSeek literally like looks at the page and like kind of scans it and compresses it, or in other words, squishes it, so that visually it somehow keeps everything almost perfect and perfect accuracy. And they're calling it like the paradigm inversion, which is in plain English for people who don't know what that is. It means that they flipped the script. So text used to be more efficient than the vision for models. Now it might be the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if some of the, some of the other companies pick up this idea and run with it. Like what we see, DeepMind, OpenAI, Google. I guess Google is DeepMind, but some of these other companies, Anthropic, testing stuff like this, or are they going to stick with let's jam as much, text content as possible in?
Can you imagine?
I have no idea whether
cramming
they
10
will
million,
experiment.
10 million tokens worth of data into one model context window, and like that's like feeling like having like an AI, like running your company, like the entire Dropbox of your company. It's like imagine having to cram everything up in like one.
Yeah.
Box.
And I guess the other question I have around something like this is, does it work from the consumer direction? So let's say I go to OpenAI and OpenAI has like one of the chat models, and let's say it's a model that has a 125,000 token context limit, right? Yeah. So I can only put in, let's say, up to 90,000 words of text into this model before I run out of context window for it to actually understand what I'm putting in. What if I took 100,000 words of something, put them all into images instead, and then fed that to OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or one of these tools? Does this same method work that other direction? Can I actually shove more context into a prompt by giving it images with text instead? That's something that I think could be fascinating to figure out, because then what we might actually see is we're still typing or copying and pasting text into a prompt box, but then behind the scenes, these model creators might convert that to images for us. So maybe it'll allow us to squeeze more context out from the user side and actually be able to push more text into the model. But yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. This is very new sort of technology and research. So we'll have to see. I don't know. I'm curious to see if any of the other frontier labs look at this technology and decide to play with it.
I think it's like a big hint that the future of language models might not be, language based at all anymore. So
yeah, that's very true. A couple last quick sort of like rapid fire topics here. Over the last week, YouTube added in AI likeness detection. So on YouTube, we've always been able to like claim copyright on videos if somebody just like flat out takes your video and posts it on their channel, or takes music that you created and posts it on their channel, things like that. But now they're making it where if somebody actually uses an AI generation of your voice in their video to make it sound like you, or if they use AI video, like one of these avatar tools like HeyGen or something like that, to generate a video of you saying something you didn't say, you can actually now strike those down as well. And I was telling you before we hit record, I actually saw this feature, double checked my account, saw a bunch of people actually using my likeness in their videos and copyright claimed them all.
I mean, I think it would put people's like minds at ease when it comes to, a lot of creators feel better when it comes to these kinds of stuff. So like it's just, they're trying to say we got your face covered, you know? So I think it makes people feel, honestly, it's like an apology, you know, for everything they've done. So it's awesome. I like it. I like that they're going into this route, because now you can create stuff, but you don't have to use someone else's work in order for you to do that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It is kind of a funny dichotomy just in my scenario, right? Where I make videos about here's how you use all these cool AI tools and how you can do things like clone avatars and stuff. And then people are using my teachings against me, and then I've got to go and copyright strike them.
Exactly.
Very interesting dichotomy to be in.
Yeah, it did warn, like YouTube did warn creators that it might even flag their own videos by mistake. So can you imagine that happening? Like, you know, but this is my work. What am I, you know, these kinds of stuff. People are going to probably lose their minds.
For sure. And then there's a couple other news stories that you mentioned that I'm actually not super familiar with. So I'll let you sort of take lead on these two. But you mentioned something about like an MIT fashion thing, and then Yelp's new AI.
Yeah. MIT builds like an AI tool that is called Refashion, which leads you to remix your clothes like an actual DJ set, which is so funny. It's like you can rebuild everything by like Legos. So you can turn your trousers into a mini dress, or like your hoodie into like a maternity wear, or like whatever. Basically, it's like a Depop meets like CAD software. So for the fashion girlies, it's just like unlock like a modular clothing, not just for the fashion girlies, but like anyone that likes fashion, because like who has the time for like overconsumption, and when you can literally just Control plus Z your whole outfit. So this is wild. I like MIT. It's not Zara yet, by the way. But it's on its way to be that. So it's also pushing for sustainability and like making sure that it doesn't end up all the clothing end up in like landfill. So I'm very happy about this,
So to reduce waste, the Refashion program helps users create outlines for adaptable clothing, such as pants that can be reconfigured into a dress. Each component of these pieces can be replaced, rearranged, or restyled. Oh, this is actually one that I haven't come across yet.
It's wild. It's so good. It changes the face of fashion, in my opinion. It's like a recycling kind of thing. Is it
demoable right now somewhere?
No, I don't think so. I tried to look it up, tried to see where I could find that, but I couldn't. I don't know if people can do that now, maybe like a week later, but I couldn't find anything. It's just like
it's probably just like
MIT
internal at MIT for right now, and then once they feel like it's ready for prime time, they'll put out some demo that we can use. And so I guess the last thing that we were going to chat about is another one. I actually came across the news, but I only read the headline. I'm that guy right now. I only read the headline, didn't read the article, but there's now some sort of new like Yelp AI.
Yeah, so Yelp just launched like an AI receptionist and like an AI host at the same time, because apparently no one's actually answering phones anymore. So for restaurants, there's like a Yelp host, which is an AI that answers calls and like takes reservation and manages tables and gives wait time and sends you the menu, and like, you know, probably knows if your date's allergic to gluten, probably. And it even texts you like follow-ups like your table's ready, bestie, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but there's also something called Yelp Receptionist, which is basically the same exact thing, but for businesses, I guess. So it books appointments and collects customer info and screens, you know, like screens everything like 24, that leads to 24/7. So all of this for $99 a month, which is cheaper than a real receptionist, and it doesn't really need lunch breaks and, you know.
So the $99 a month, that's paid for by like the restaurant, right? Or like whatever company is using it.
Yeah. Whatever company is using.
I'm assuming Yelp is still free to use for the actual consumer side.
Yeah. It's still, I don't think people use Yelp in the UK, but I think in the US it's insane. It's like very helpful for a lot of people. So also the wild part about this is that Google's working on AI that calls businesses for you. So we're getting like dangerously close to AIs just calling each other now, which is gonna be very funny for me to see. So
Yeah. It's like you Google a restaurant and you tell AI to call the restaurant to find out if there's reservations, and then the restaurant answers, but it's an AI bot answering.
bot.
So it's like my Google's AI reaching out to this restaurant's AI.
They're gonna probably like tell each other that they're doing amazing and they're supercharging each other. This is going to be a conversation. It's going to be insane. I would love to be a fly on that wall when that happens, like just to see how that works.
I mean, we're getting there already kind of with things like email and whatnot anyway, right? It's like, I don't know if you've seen those memes where it's like, I wrote this one sentence and had AI turn it into a giant paragraph for me. And then they send the email, and the person that received the email is like, this person sent me this giant paragraph of email. I had AI summarize it down into one sentence for me, right? Exactly. So it's like the original person wrote one sentence, the person that received it summarized it back down to one sentence.
Can you imagine? It would be summarized into one word eventually. Yeah. Like,
and it's hilarious because like we're going to see more and more of that kind of stuff where it's just like the AIs communicating with each other on our behalf, and then eventually the AI is just like a middleman anyway. That's like,
it's gonna be like the meme of like the Spider-Man. I don't know if you've seen that meme of like 3 Spider-Mans just pointing at each other. That's what's gonna be like.
That's gonna be pretty hilarious. I know that's already happening in like schools, right? Like students are using ChatGPT to help them write their homework, and then teachers are actually, there's a whole South Park episode about this. The teachers are actually going and like using ChatGPT to grade the homework. So like the student is no longer even seeing the homework because ChatGPT is doing it, and the teacher's no longer even seeing like what the students are doing because ChatGPT is doing it. It's pretty hilarious, but I mean, there's truth to it.
It's funny. I just hope that schools like find like more ways into making sure that the youth is learning something.
Totally.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my hope is that tools like ChatGPT and Notebook LM and all of these various AI tools that are out there make students more resourceful. They feel like they have more access to more information, more access to more knowledge. And they use that to actually help them, and the sort of opposite end of the spectrum, the side that I hope it doesn't go down, is the path of everything just becomes AI generated brain rot.
Yeah. I mean, I need something to make sure that the youth kind of like has ways of getting more creative rather than just recycled content. Because to be fair, like we're not going to beat around the bushes. It is recycled content. So like we need like more things to be pushed so that the students are learning something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this is getting probably off the rails a little too much, but like, I feel like that's where things like world models kind of solve a lot of that kind of stuff, because if AI sort of understands the world around it, as opposed to just what was injected into the initial training data, that gets us to a point where AI is starting to come up with novel solutions because it has an understanding of the world, not just an understanding of what it was trained on. And sort of that future excites me as well. But how far off we are to like these world models actually being helpful, I don't know. We might still be a ways off.
Yeah. I mean, but besides, I just need AI to cure like big problems like cure cancer and stuff.
Yeah.
Also automate my house. That would be also very helpful. But yes, same level. Yeah. Automate my house and like cure cancer. Like,
cure cancer, solve climate change, and do my dishes and laundry for me.
Yes, please. And meal prep. I didn't have time to meal prep this week. Yes, please.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, this has been awesome. I mean, obviously a lot has happened over the last week since we chatted last time. I would love to hear from the audience what people think about these episodes, these sort of news recap and riff episodes. Again, I don't really do them as much on my main YouTube channel. So if you like more of this style and you want to hear more of our sort of musings and thoughts on what's going on in the world of AI news, let us know in the comments if this interest you, and we'll definitely keep doing more of them because they're such a blast for us to do.
Yeah, I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, amazing. Well, so make sure you check out the Mindstream newsletter. That's the newsletter that Maria is writing and the head person over there, keeping you looped in with all the latest AI news. So check that out if you haven't already. And make sure you're subscribed. So whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, we're available everywhere you listen to podcasts. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, guys.